Ladies and gentlemen, this is J.R. Moore coming to you live from deep in the mountains of the Missouri Ozarks on Thursday, the 19th day of December, year of our Lord 2019. Welcome to the John Moore Show. We begin our shows with something that I believe should be said in every schoolhouse, every schoolroom at the beginning of every school day, which unfortunately is no longer the case. Some schools do, some don't. That would be the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Purpose of the day, with all this talk of Civil War, you might be well advised to stock up right now for you and your team on gas masks, body armor, and ballistic helmets. Relatively easy to get now, point, click on Amazon.com, for example. At my website, I do have some of these items for sale under products. And get them now while you can, because during a crisis, well, it's not going to happen. It simply will not happen. I'm going to read the letter that President Trump sent to Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, 2 days ago, December 17th. It's listed at my website. You can download it, read it, print it out. This is a well-drafted letter, very concise, to the point. The president wrote this knowing full well it would not stop the impeachment. It would not change the mind of Nancy Pelosi. Why did he do this? To make a record. This letter will become part of the presidential papers, will be archived in the National Archives, and will be available for people to read decades, even centuries into the future. So here it is, on White House letterhead stationery, dated December 17th, 2019, to the Honorable Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Washington, D.C., 20515. Dear Madam Speaker, new paragraph. I write to express my strongest and most powerful protest against the partisan impeachment crusade being pursued by the Democrats in the House of Representatives. This impeachment represents an unprecedented and unconstitutional abuse of power by Democrat lawmakers, unequaled in nearly 2.5 centuries of American legislative history. New paragraph. The articles of impeachment introduced by the House Judiciary Committee are not recognizable under any standard of constitutional theory, interpretation, or jurisprudence. They include no crimes, no misdemeanors, and no offenses whatsoever. You have cheapened the importance of the very ugly word, impeachment. New paragraph. By proceeding with your invalid impeachment, you are violating your oaths of office, you are breaking your allegiance to the Constitution, and you are declaring open war on American democracy. You dare to invoke the Founding Fathers in pursuit of this election nullification scheme, yet your spiteful actions display unfettered contempt for our Americans' founding, and your egregious conduct threatens to destroy that which our founders pledged their very lives to build. Even worse than offending the Founding Fathers, you are offending the Americans of faith by continually saying, I pray for the president, when you know the statement is not true, unless it is meant in a negative sense. It is a terrible thing you are doing, but you will have to live with it, not I. New paragraph. Your first claim, abuse of power, is completely disingenuous, meritless, and baseless, invention of your imagination. You know that I had a totally innocent conversation with the president of Ukraine. I then had a second conversation that has been misquoted, mischaracterized, and fraudulently misrepresented. Fortunately, there was a transcript of the conversation taken, and you know from the transcript, which was immediately made available, that the paragraph in question was perfect. I said to President Zelensky, I would like you to do us a favor, though, because our country has been through a lot, and Ukraine knows a lot about it. I said, do us a favor, not me, and our country, not a campaign. I then mentioned the Attorney General of the United States. Every time I talk with a foreign leader, I put American interests first, just as I did with President Zelensky. Go to page 2. Published. Let's see. I apologize. Um, Page 2 is blank here on this copy. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We have an issue here. Well, we will get that corrected before the day is over. I apologize that this glitch has happened. I watched the president's rally last night in Battle Creek, Michigan. A relatively small auditorium, 5,000 people. Several thousands of people were outside, couldn't get in. I have a pretty good idea of what the weather was like up there in Michigan last night. It's pretty harsh. He was encouraging people to go home rather than stay in the cold and watch a big screen. I don't know if they had a big screen set up or not, but typically they do. We're in history-making times here. The first few paragraphs of the president's letter certainly lay out the parameters here. First few paragraphs. There are what he's being charged with in this impeachment are not crimes. There are no crimes. The president did nothing wrong. In fact, as the chief executive, he has an obligation to make sure that corruption involving American nationals, especially anybody at the level of Joe Biden and his son, that corruption involving American officials, American foreign aid, and foreign entities, foreign governments is resolved. So he was doing his duty by making that request, a polite, professional request of the president of Ukraine to give some assistance because, well, who's better suited to do that than the president of the country in question, that being Ukraine? Nobody I can think of. Ironically, and President Trump mentioned this last night, it's not really a secret, former Vice President Joe Biden was videotaped bragging about getting the prosecuting attorney in Ukraine fired, who was looking into the criminal activity of his son. How ironic is that? I find it very ironic. Keep your powder dry. A friend of mine sent an email this morning that encouraged people to keep their powder dry. That's an expression that goes back to the 19th century when, before we had cartridges, that men would use a flask of powder to reload their rifles and pistols. And of course the powder had to be dry in order to function. If it got wet, well, it was pretty useless until it dried out again. Keep your powder dry. That's just a way of, as an expression meaning stay ready, stay prepared. That would be words of wisdom, quite frankly. I was watching and listening to Senator Graham analyze what's going on. He was saying that Nancy Pelosi is pursuing this impeachment to keep her job. Nancy Pelosi is many things, but when it comes to political strategy, she's pretty wise when it comes to understanding what it's going to take to keep her job. And that means placating the majority of the Democratic Party who want to impeach the President of the United States. Because if she doesn't go along with that, well, she'll lose her job as Speaker of the House. And I respect Senator Graham and his analysis. I think he's probably right on the money when it comes to that particular thing there. I don't know the timetable for this impeachment trial to begin. With the holidays and Congress typically will already be on recess, I doubt anything's going to happen before the first year. I would be shocked if anything happened before the first week of January. A lot of things need to be put in place. This is such a rare occasion, and nothing is set up in advance typically for this kind of thing to take place. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court would be acting as a judge in the trial. So I don't expect much to happen before the first week of January, maybe even the second week of January. I don't know the schedule of Congress, when their recess begins, when it ends, and there may be some changes to what would be a normal congressional recess. We'll see. I quite frankly don't know. On the positive side, all this impeachment business is motivating the base of Donald Trump, the base of support from sea to shining sea. It's motivating his base. That's what I want to talk about for just a little bit here. We've got less than 11 months until the first Tuesday in November. And are you registered to vote? Are you? I know many conservatives who are not, even evangelical Christians who are not. They simply haven't. Well, if you're listening to the show, you're most likely a conservative. And I want to encourage all you conservative folks out there to get registered, to encourage your conservative friends, neighbors, relatives, co-workers, people you go to church with, to be registered to vote. The conservatives, I'll just leave the liberals and progressives alone, let them do what they're going to do. And make sure that they have the offer of a ride to vote. They have the offer to help them vote absentee ballot if that's what needs to be done. Whatever it takes. Now, there's levels above that you need to be looking at and considering also. We have over 3,000 counties in the United States. Over 3,000. Most of those counties have an elected sheriff. Make sure that the sheriff in your county supports the Constitution and supports the president. If that sheriff does not, then find a candidate who will. If you would like to run for office, you need to consider doing that, running for school board, running for city council. Get on the Republican Central Committee as a committeeman or committeewoman. Get active. Get active. Do what you can. Everybody's going to have their own skill sets, their own availability of time, their own availability of money. It's different for everybody. I respect that. But consider what you can do as an individual to help our country, to make America great again, to keep America great. Mailing a check to the president and the president's campaign, sure, of course that helps. Making phone calls helps. Talking to people helps. It all helps. And we all need to do this over the next 11 months. We need an overwhelming majority of Americans going to the polls the first Tuesday in November 2020. It'll be 2020 here in less than 2 weeks. And having an overwhelming majority vote for this president. This impeachment fiasco will fail. There will not be a conviction of this president for his non-existent crime. That's not going to happen. There's some concern that there's enough blackmail material on enough U.S. senators to get a conviction. Apparently, President Trump is aware of this and has his own ways of dealing with that to make sure that these senators do the right thing for the right reasons, that they do vote for exoneration of the president. Interesting times we live in. The rally we had last night was the typical Donald Trump rally, high energy, fun, exciting, interesting, all those things. All those things. There's no Democratic candidate that can do what Donald Trump does when it comes to these public rallies. That person doesn't exist. No one out there can do what he does. No Democratic candidate can do what he does. Mike Pence, Mr. Personality, introduced the president. Mike does the best he can. Mike Pence is not President Trump. He doesn't have the persona that Trump does, and he will never have the persona that Trump does. It's simply not part of his being. He can't do that. Joe Biden, I would love it. Who's going to be the candidate for the Democratic Party? Joe Biden? Bernie Sanders, whose health is in the toilet. Hillary still got time to sign up. That would be great. Got a caller on hold here. He's taking a great break from feeding his goats. That's Jerry in Texas. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, John. Actually, I'm out here busting ice on the watercraft, but anyway, so the goats can have a little rehydration. Interesting article in the latest Epic Times. The impeachment trial in the Senate, when it convenes, the senators have got to be present 6 days every week till the trial is over. And 5 of the Democrat presidential candidates are senators. But an interesting twist on what may happen there.
It is.
You know, I don't know all the rules and regulations, but that one there is definitely an interesting deal. And what latest I read, Nancy Pelosi is in no hurry to present it to the Senate. Couldn't find any explanation why, except it may interfere with their holidays coming up, campaigning when they get home. I don't know. I don't know if there's a time limit that she's got to present it to the Senate or anything else. But anyway, if they decide, what is it, Iowa caucus is first week in February, and then New Hampshire is not very far behind.
You want to hold on, Jerry, through the break here?
If you don't mind.
Sure, please, hold on. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge $20, $30, $40, $50, if possible, $100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here at Republic Broadcasting on Thursday, the 19th of December. We are going on a cruise. I'm ready. I'm ready to go right now, but we are not going for a while. It'll be a few weeks. Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, February 9th through the 16th. What a great time to be in the Caribbean. It will be romantic if you choose it to be. Valentine's Day will be right in the middle of it. Be a great time. And check out the details at my website at thelibertyman.com. You make a decision. You want to go on a cruise with us, give Betsy Murphy, our cruise director, a call. Betsy's telephone, twice, slowly, 636-530-9502. The John Moore Patriot Symposium Cruise, 636-530-9502. Jerry, what else is on your mind this morning?
Kind of curious. I read our statement from Barack Hussein Obama stating that women, and no offense intended to all the women listeners out there, but women make the best leaders. This come out just in the last couple of days. Is that a setup, maybe with all this going on that Michelle Obama may be throwing her hat in the ring, God forbid?
Well, I saw the headline about Hussein Obama's statement that women should be the leaders. There's been speculation about Michael Obama becoming a candidate, and that would be a good thing. I think that she would make a great candidate, Michael Obama. We'll see. It'll make it an interesting campaign if it happens.
Well, it's kind of scary, how that all shakes out. But if they start these Senate hearings, of course, they've got to have a quorum. And I understand it's got to be a 51% of the Senate to have a quorum. If those 5 senators decide to keep campaigning and not sit in on the trial and vote, that I don't know. It's going to be interesting to be on the sidelines. And when Nancy says she's no hurry to present this to the Senate, is there a time limit?
I believe. Well, I don't know the protocols, but I believe that once that vote happened last night, that it takes on a life of its own, and there's specific protocols to be followed as to when it goes to the Senate. And quite frankly, I don't know what those are.
Well, I looked a little bit this morning before I had to get busy, and I didn't see anything. Of course, I'm sure it's out there, but it's got to be a time limit, or it becomes null and void, this impeachment.
Well, I'm sure you're right. Of course, there's a time limit. They can't wait 6 months, it's complicated with the holidays and the typical break that the recess that Congress takes. So I don't know the details of that. If you find out the details, let us know, Jerry.
Okay, well, if somebody knows, please call in, and because I'm kind of curious how all this is going to play out. But anyway, John, thanks for taking my call. Y'all going to be live tomorrow?
Oh yes, we'll be live tomorrow.
Okay.
The holiday schedule kicks in next week. We'll be on tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, stay on. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Call number is 800-313-9443. Yes, absolutely. Well, historical times. I remember the impeachment of President Clinton. I remember President Nixon resigning. I got to meet one of the prosecutors in the Clinton impeachment and spent the better part of the day with him up in Chicago. Lifelong Democrat, former FBI agent. Interesting meeting. to say the least. And yes, here we are with history being made. And President Trump will prevail. All things being equal, if he's allowed to present the evidence that will exonerate him, if the senators vote ethically and with conscious effort to do the right thing for the right reasons, as opposed to voting under threat of being exposed for some kind of misconduct they did in years past, the president will be exonerated and will be able to get on with the people's business. Got a bottom of the hour break coming up here shortly. Tom Berry, he'll be with us. We'll be talking about our favorite product, that being the energy cleaner. I'm shipping one out today to Washington State, to Dimitri. Good morning, Dimitri. Here's our break. Be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday, the 19th of December. Usually Tom Berryhill is called in by now. He is not yet. If Tom calls in, we will bring him on board and we will talk about our favorite product, that being the energy cleaner. I first met Tom in 1996 when I was running for Congress. And it looks like we got Tom on board with us. Good morning, Tom.
Morning, John. How are you doing today?
Well, looking forward to all this ice and snow melting. I got glazed ice out here on my driveway. I was able to get out and go to the post office and get a haircut yesterday because I bladed the driveway with the Kubota tractor the day before. But by the end of the day today, I expect most of this ice and snow to be melted. How about yourself, sir?
Same here. Roads are clear, but driveways are kind of treacherous. So I'll give her a disclaimer.
Please.
We're not doctors or medical professionals. We don't diagnose, treat, or cure any illness or disease. The information discussed today is for your education and entertainment only. If you have a medical condition requiring treatment, you should utilize the services of a medical doctor, chiropractor, or other competent practitioner.
All right. Tom, I got a note from one of our listeners. She's giving me credit for saving her husband's life because I advocated people consume apricot kernels on a daily basis like I've done for about 20 years. The point being, the energy cleaner is not the silver bullet. We encourage people to make lifestyle changes, dietary changes, attitude changes, in addition to incorporating the energy cleaner into their daily life. I sometimes mention the energy cleaner that was returned to me. I get about one a quarter, about once every 3 or 4 months. I'll get one returned to me. with my 90-day money-back guarantee. I opened up the box of this Return Energy Cleaner, and the cigarette smoke almost knocked me over. I can imagine how intense the cigarette smoke was in this household for it to be so intense 3 days later when I received it and opened up this package. So these individuals thought that they could continue their lifestyle of consuming tobacco products and become healthy somehow, some way, because they purchased an energy cleaner. That's not going to work, is it, Tom?
No, that's not going to work at all. I got one back years ago, John, and not only did it smell like cigarettes, but it smelled like a moldy house. Now, that was a really bad combination. And it was so bad, I actually took the thing and threw it in a burn barrel and just burned it. It smelled that bad.
If you know what when I went to Washington, D.C. for the to meet with people connected to the president, re-electing the president, I should say, one hotel that myself and Ben Murphy, we stopped at, we walked in the door, and the mold smell almost knocked us over, and we politely turned around and left to get a different hotel that didn't have that heavy mold smell. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have new listeners every week, Tom and I. People who don't know who Tom Berryhill is, who've just been introduced to myself because of Doug Hagman's show. I'm on with Doug now every Monday, Tom, and never heard of the energy cleaner. Don't have a clue what it is. The energy cleaner. Well, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's an electronic healing device. It is not a TENS unit. It's not a frequency generator, a Rife frequency generator type machine. No, it's not either one of those. It's entirely different technology. And it is technology. The energy cleaner puts out a healing electrostatic signal. Very simple machine, about the size of a cigar box. Takes 9D as in Delta, 9D cell batteries. No on-off switch, no gauges, no dials. After you install the batteries, you've got one place to plug in one wire and one LED light that alternately flashes red or green and tells you two things. First of all, it's working. Second of all, it's changing polarity. Once this battery is installed, you don't need to worry about turning it off and on. It just runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You change the batteries once a year. Hopefully you'll get one of my mattress pads. Some people try to save a few bucks to find out if it's going to work first before they get the mattress pad. Most people these days, they go ahead and get the mattress pad at the same time they get their energy cleaner. So you take delivery. You open up the priority mailbox. You put the mattress pad on your bed. You plug it into the energy cleaner after you put the batteries on it. And that's all there is to it, Tom. There's nothing else to do, is there?
No, that's it. It's that simple. The energy cleaner puts out a voltage signal and changes polarity on a regular cycle. Many times, John, I've had people ask me how it compares to magnetic mattress pads. A lot of people try those with good results, and they do work, the magnetic products. But you sleep on it, you get one polarity for the duration of your sleep, and then throughout the next day, your body has to reach equilibrium with the opposite polarity. Well, we do this automatically with the energy cleaner, and you get 10 complete cycles per hour rather than one cycle per day for using a magnetic type of pad. So it's a lot more rapid than you would ever get with any type of magnetic product. And but I think they both work in a similar way by assisting the cells with a voltage signal. A magnetic field is like voltage. It will induce a voltage into the cells, and the energy cleaner does something similar, but in a much quicker pace. Right, so that's why you get such rapid healing and pain relief.
So every 3 minutes it's changing polarity. So it'd be 10 times for one polarity and 10 times for another polarity at 3 minutes each. These signals, ladies and gentlemen, they go to every cell in your body. Every cell. There's billions of cells in your body. Flushing out toxins, bringing in fresh nutrition. That's how it works. And we focus on arthritis pain and getting a great night's sleep. between those two matters, sleep issues and pain issues, we're talking more than half the adults in this country, aren't we, Tom?
Well, we certainly are, John, and with the huge number of baby boomers coming into retirement, along with their aches and pains, arthritis pain, just all types of medical conditions, health concerns. I mean, the energy cleaner could really, really help a lot of these people if they were just aware of it and gave it a try. The energy cleaner would do a lot of things for the human body, and your pets as well. If you have pets, they'll benefit from it too. And plants in your garden, greenhouse, it'll help any living object, anything that's living, anything that has cells that are breathing, it will help. So give it a try.
Well, I tell people, tomato plants, puppy dogs, and people are all electrical in nature. And the energy cleaner helps everything that's electrical in nature, including tomato plants, puppy dogs, and people. And that's just reality. This is, I think we're in year number 11 here, Tom, I believe, of my helping you market these devices all over the country, all over the planet. We sometimes joke about shipping them everywhere except the Antarctic, where we've got 3,000 Americans at McMurdo Station. And we all know it takes at least 3,000 people to take ice core samples and count penguins. You think they might be doing something else down there, Tom?
Well, they're up to a lot of things, I'm sure. I don't know all of it, but yeah, there's something going on to have that many people down there.
Right. I'll be interviewing a C-130 pilot in the next few weeks about his trips to the Antarctic. The C-130 pilots I've interviewed in the past are all very tight-lipped about what they brought out of there. The Air Force and the government doesn't care them talking about what they take down there, but they're very concerned about what comes out of there. It's pretty funny. Regardless, the energy cleaner will help you. If you've got arthritis pain, joint pain, back pain, it will help. If you want to sleep as good as a small child every night like I do, and wake up pain-free like I do, pretty simple. Get yourself an energy cleaner. $285 shipping included, American zip code. The mattress pads, well, we have twin size, full, queen, king, California king, the handy travel size. Everything's in stock, ready for immediate shipment. I can no longer promise delivery before Christmas. That would be foolish. But when you place your order, I ship them out the next business day. I've got one going out today to Washington State to Dimitri. Good morning, Dimitri. And they go out priority mail. Signature confirmation. International shipments, they go international priority mail. It gets pricey once crossing that Canadian border. Basically triples the delivery charge. But it's well worth it. Compared to the value, it's well worth it, isn't it, Tom?
Well, it certainly is. And anybody that's on any type of pharmaceutical product, many times they'll find that the energy cleaner actually amplifies the effect of that product. So if they're on pain medication, for instance, it's quite likely they can cut back on the dosage. With the help of their physician, they can work it out and perhaps cut the dosage, save them some money, also save their body some wear and tear. Their liver and kidneys don't have to process all the sludge and leftovers from those pharmaceutical products.
Right.
So the energy cleaner will greatly help in that area.
Absolutely. Well, I always encourage people the last 2 weeks to get an energy cleaner as a gift for somebody that needs help, or maybe a Christmas gift for themselves, and get their life back. Our friend Tim Spencer, he got his life back. He enjoyed a number of years of the vigorous outdoor activity that he loves to do, riding his ponies, working around his ranch, even climbing a radio tower. Where prior to using the energy cleaner, he was a semi-invalid and could not go down steps very easily and barely could make it up steps, and was already looking at becoming a resident at the General Pershing VA Center in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. That's how bad he was. He did not want to become a burden on his family. The energy cleaner changed all that. And the testimonials we get, at my website, we have a testimonial by Steve Whitman. Steve gives myself and the energy cleaner credit for saving his life. It's a very heartwarming story. We try to get Steve on 2 or 3 times a year to talk about his experience and promote his most recent book. He's become a prolific writer. I think he's written about 9 or 10 novels at this point in time, and he's all as a consequence of my encouraging him to write an article initially on what happened with his being shot 3 times with a pistol and the energy cleaner helping him have strength and agility before being shot, and then a unusually rapid healing after he was shot. Very heartwarming story. We got a caller on hold here, Tom. We got Fred in Wisconsin. Good morning, Fred.
Good morning. Hello?
You're on the air, Fred. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I just have a question. I was listening to the show, and I wrote in energy cleaner on the internet, and I was trying to find a location for Tom, and I came up with some guy named Crock, C-R-O-C-K. And I'm just curious, do you have a site?
Contact Mr. Crock has passed away, so I don't think you'll be able to contact Mr. Crock, the inventor of the energy cleaner.
So does Tom have a site that I could go to?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I don't, Fred. I don't have I have a website. I've never published it. The reason being is most of these are sold through distribution, and I don't want to compete with the distributors. So I've never posted any information.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Fred. If somebody needs to contact Tom, just send me an email and I'll forward it to Tom. And things come up. People forget to change the battery once a year, the batteries, and there's leakage and the unit becomes damaged, and I refer them to Tom to get the unit repaired. So things do come up, don't they, Tom?
It does happen, yes. And like any electronic device, the battery should be changed on a frequent basis because the batteries will leak, and not only the energy cleaner, but any electronic device. And you have to pay special attention to that on an annual basis, change those batteries, because the batteries last so long in the energy cleaner that there's a good chance that they could leak if you leave them in there longer than a year. We've had people go 2 or 3 years with no problems, and the batteries were still good. I took a unit years ago. Many years ago, I took an energy cleaner, put it in a plastic tub so I knew the batteries would leak, and I just left it in there and left it run around the clock, and it went for years. And I believe it was in the 5th year, the batteries totally destroyed the unit. They just leaked and just rotted out everything inside. But I wanted to see how long it would last. You know, even with those batteries leaking, that light was still blinking, and it was still trying to work. So I was able to clean it up, but it was a total loss, and I pitched it. We just did that as an experiment to see how long those batteries would go, and they will last a long, long time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the bottom line is the energy cleaner works. If you have arthritis pain, you will get relief. Most people get complete relief. Everybody gets some relief. Are you not sleeping well at night? I sleep like a rock, Tom. I have that energy cleaner signal hooked up to my mattress pad, and my head hits that pillow, and 10 minutes later, I am having what they call REM, rapid eye movement sleep, that deep healing sleep that you really need to not only rest but also to heal. And as my wife, Dr. Moore, would say, when you sleep is when you heal. Now, if you're a doubting Thomas, I encourage that. I encourage people to be a doubting Thomas. And I got just the thing for you, all you doubting Thomases out there. I have a 90-day money-back guarantee. That's what I do. Something your healthcare professional is highly unlikely to do unless you happen to have the medical doctor up in Chicagoland that encourages his patients to get an energy cleaner and then backs it up with his own guarantee. So it doesn't get any better than that. A 90-day money-back guarantee is something that will help you get your life back. I know the cost is an issue for some folks. Looking at nearly $500. for an energy cleaner and a mattress pad, compared to the cost of not getting it, of dealing with pain, dealing with sleep issues, and expensive, dangerous pharmaceutical products. Sounds like a bargain, doesn't it, Tom? We got a break. We'll be right back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, back here on Thursday. It is Thursday, the 19th of December. Well, Tom, men and women need to be aware if they want award-winning ornamental plants, flowers, if they want award-winning fruits and vegetables, if they care to do such a thing, or just have tasty fruits and vegetables for consumption, the energy cleaner will help them achieve that goal, won't it?
It certainly will, and many people have used it over the years to increase the production of vegetables in gardens and greenhouses. It's so simple to do. If you just get a chicken wire grid over that plant area, it will rapidly increase the growth rate of those plants, and you'll have quite a bit better production of whatever you're growing. So whether it be vegetables, flowers, it doesn't matter. Those plants will increase their output. It's amazing to watch that happen.
Right. Well, once people find this out, they typically get a second energy cleaner, so they don't need to be toting one back and forth from their use at night to their use in the garden. And maybe even get a third one for their puppy dogs or their cats to help them be healthier too. I don't have any dogs at the moment, but when I do, the little doggy mattresses have an energy clearing signal, and it's fun to watch the dogs come and go during the day to get a quick rest on the energy cleaner. They really do like it. Animals are drawn to the signal, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. We had a dog that finally passed on at 18 years and 4 months, John, and that dog had his own energy cleaner since he was a pup. And he did quite well with it. The vet that would take care of him commented on that breed. They don't normally live that long, so they were quite amazed that that dog did as well as did all the way to the end.
Right. Well, study up on energy cleaner, make your decision. Don't procrastinate. Everybody who procrastinates, they regret it later, don't they, sir?
Yeah, they do. They will regret it, especially after they start getting their life back. No more pain. They can get out and go to town, go visit friends, travel, do whatever they like to do. It really helps quite a bit.
Absolutely. Well, it's time to make that decision. After you've done your homework, make that decision to get your energy cleaner, the mattress pad to go with it. Get that order in so I can process it and ship it out. This is my home business. I'm the guy that packs them up. I take them to the little country post office in Cherryville, Missouri, where they increase their cup of coffee from 50 cents to 75 cents, Tom. All the coffee you can drink all day long.
It sounds good.
It is. Well, Tom, we'll do some radio tomorrow morning and talk about emergency communications.
Okay, John. Talk to you then.
Okay, thank you, sir. Top of the hour coming up, break. We'll be back with Steve Hunt, the John Moore Radio Show economic advisor, and Steve will give us his prognostications. He was not with us last week. He had a conflict, scheduling conflict. But we'll be talking about this article he sent me, China's War, and the subtitle is Secrets of How You Can Be a Winner in a Financial War Between the American Eagle and the Chinese Dragon. We'll be right back. Prepper tip of the day. Right now, it's easy to get gas masks, body armor, ballistic helmets. During a crisis, it won't be. So check it out. I got some of those listed for sale under products at my website, the Amazon products that I offer for sale. Get the best you can and get them now. That would be the prepper tip of the day. We have patient waiting in the green room, my friend Steve Hunt. Steve is the John Moore Radio Show economic advisor. If you go to my homepage at thelibertyman.com, at the very top, you'll see what looks like a Christmas gift, a red box with a gold ribbon. Just click on that. And I'm clicking on it right now, and there we have Steve's landing page at Swiss America. If you don't have internet access, he's got a phone number. You can just call him up, and he will mail you some very nice booklets to help educate you. Steve's telephone number is 800-630-1491. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, John.
You're all recovered from your event of a week ago today?
Yeah, I'm still on bed rest. I had a surgery on my foot, so I'm not allowed to really walk on it for a couple of weeks, so I'm just kind of recouping.
Uh-huh. Well, I got the article that you mailed me titled China's War. The subtitle is The Secrets of How You Can Be a Winner in the Financial War Between the American Eagle and the Chinese Dragon. It's, let's see, it looks like 14 pages, very well laid out, very thoughtfully done by the author is Craig Smith, the chairman of Swiss America Trading Corporation, and Lowell Ponte. These two did an excellent job on this article, Steve. I want to thank you for getting it to me. Now, how can our listeners get a copy of this?
If anybody wants to call in, leave me, if I don't answer, leave a message. I will get it out to you as soon as I can. And we just finished that report a couple weeks ago. As soon as we finished it, I sent you probably the first copy, John. So I wanted to make sure that you were the first one to see it. So if anybody has some interest in this, I urge you to take a look at it. Give me a call. I'll put it in the mail right away.
The report touched on and gave enough information on this thing I'm about to talk about to give people a brief glimpse at this one aspect of what the Chinese are doing, and that would be Africa. I have more knowledge about that than most people, and my friend Command Sergeant Major Page spent a year of his life in Central Africa documenting the Chinese colonization of Africa. About 3 weeks ago, I spent an hour, Steve, with a native-born Zambian gentleman. He's immigrated properly and legally to the United States, owns his own business, and of course his parents and his siblings are still in Zambia. And I spent an hour explaining to him what the Chinese are doing, and he was aware of the Chinese presence in Zambia, but he had not been able to connect the dots until I filled in some blanks for him. And then he completely understood what the Chinese are really doing in Central Africa, which is colonizing Central Africa to take it over for themselves. What the Chinese are doing worldwide is phenomenal. And they know, in their minds at least, that the 21st century is their century. And if people don't become cognizant of this, Steve, if they don't become aware of it, if they don't reach an understanding of what the Chinese are doing, they could end up losing really big, couldn't they, sir?
Well, absolutely. That's just it. People don't have any clue. They're very manipulative, and they've got their hands in a lot of cookie jars. They are positioning themselves, exactly what you said, to do something very, very big, and no one has any clue about this. It's not on the news. You're not going to see it on, CNN or Fox News. It's just you really have to know people or really dig into the story to see what's happening. And if you don't do something now to kind of get yourself in a position so that you're protected, you're going to be in trouble.
Well, I know that you're aware of the speech given by the top Chinese general to his men in the Chinese military. We, the United States, we managed to get a copy of it. It's been translated. It's on my website. And the bottom line is the Chinese general states the goals of China and as far as it concerns the United States. They want the United States for themselves. They want our land, our resources, a functional working infrastructure, oil refineries, locks and dams, power plants, water treatment plants, airports. They want a complete working infrastructure, but what they don't want is Americans. So this is not a good situation. And this report that you're offering people, if people want to call Steve and they have a copy mailed to them, Steve will mail that to you. And Steve's telephone number is 800-630-1491. A great heads up, a great education in 14 short pages. And, of course, the listeners to the John Moore Radio Show actually own books, actually read books, which about 3 out of 100 Americans, adults, actually do that. According to the American Library Association, Steve, 3% of American adults have a library card. Half of them, 1.5%, use it for casual entertainment, and 1.5% read something other than light entertainment reading. But that's the John Moore, the listeners to the John Moore Radio Show. The men and women who actually read books of substance. And go ahead, Steve.
We actually, when we first came out with this report, the first time we were going to put this out, it was about 30 pages long. And you know, the one thing we didn't want to do was bombard people with too much information. And we went, you know, a little bit more into the history of things, and we thought it'd be better to get more to the point. So we shortened it down by half, just to get people, you know, we want to make sure everybody's seeing what's happening and you don't get caught up in the history of things. It's more about finding the important parts of this story so, you know, everybody can really understand, you know, and get a good sense of feeling about what's happening today. So that's why we shortened it down to 14 pages.
Right. Well, it's a summary. It is not a detailed discourse, which this could easily be a 1,000-page book, quite frankly, if you know what you and I know. I recall it's been, I guess, about 35 years ago, the first time I read a 1,000-page novel. I thought, man, this is a really big book. Now I routinely read a 1,000-page novel, don't think anything of it. But most people won't do that. They don't have the time. They don't have to spend doing that. And 14 pages, we're looking at just a very few minutes to read this thing and get the basic knowledge. And that's what this 14-page report does. It's a great summary. It gives a view from 30,000 feet of what's going on, as opposed to being down in the trenches and knowing the minutiae, the details. You can get a good summary without knowing all the historical details, can't you, Steve?
Oh, of course. And sometimes that's all you need. You don't want to be in the trenches finding out, you know, firsthand what's happening. It's better to get a good summary so you can, you know, in a matter of 15 minutes, get your full knowledge that you need instead of you know, years of tutelage the wrong way.
Absolutely. Once you got the knowledge, then you can move forward with developing a plan. Now, my personal plan is to have a collectible automobile. I like silver coins, but I can't drive a bag full of silver coins. But I can drive my half-century-old British sports car, which will retain value and increase in value. It's got a track record. In fact, I saw a duplicate of my car in a automobile museum over the weekend. $28,000. I paid $8,000 for mine. So I'm very confident in the ability of this automobile to hold value. And
you know, it's funny you say that. Almost everybody that I talk to, I tell everybody, and people that have called in from your show, I can say this: if you don't want gold or silver, you need to look at land. If you don't want land, you need to look at rare cars. If you don't want rare cars, start looking at rare art. I mean, as long as you have a tangible asset that is something that can't be devalued, there's not a million of them in existence, you know, it's a good protection for you. It's insurance. That's all it is.
Right. Well, in my case, it's insurance. It's fun. But, yes. And, of course, I have some silver coins and some gold coins. Of course I do. It's not my main focus of my investments, but it's part of an overall plan. And as I mentioned, my grandchildren, my grandson, the oldest grandson, he got silver coins for his birthday. And it's just part of the education for these youngsters. We got a caller here, Steve. We got Pat in Texas. Good morning, Pat.
Hi. I'm glad you're talking about the Chinese. I think that they're got us. Well, we just don't talk enough about them. I noticed an article in our paper about automotive thing, and some guy bought some cheap spark plugs for his car, and they ruined his car. It ended up costing him hundreds of dollars. And they said, well, if it's cheap, you can pretty much sure that it's a fake one, you know. And I thought, I wonder if they're trying to sell cars over here. Do you think they're going to sell their cars? They've got all these copies of our cars that they would like to sell. I know they're going to move over here near Silicon Valley to steal more things, I guess.
Well, the Chinese
manufacture their own thing. Manufacture their own things over here.
I'm not aware of China selling any Chinese-built automobiles in this country yet. Are you, Steve?
Not that I know of, but I do know that about 3 or 4 weeks ago, they lifted a ban on the production of cars. They had a very strict ban on the amount of automobiles that they could produce. They completely took that away. So I know that they're about to ramp up making automobiles dramatically.
Uh-oh. Well, I heard a guy call the shortwave radio show one time, and he said, is there any way that America can come back down here and take over Panama because the Chinese have taken over this entire cities? They speak Chinese.
Well, we can thank Jimmy Carter for that, and
I know.
I'm not sure what it would take to regain control of the Panama Canal. Although we did get Long Beach Naval Shipyard back, so with President Trump,
I know that one too. Yeah, they're coming out of those crates now, real easy, I think. I know another person pointed that out was Rick Wiles. One time he chased one down with a uniform on and said, "Why are you getting a Social Security card?" He said, "Oh, I work here." Chinese. So good. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the call, Pat. We appreciate it. Well, the beginning point is education. And once a person has educated themselves about what's going on, then it's time to develop a plan, isn't it, Steve?
Exactly right.
And that's your job, is to help people develop that plan. Most people, it's going to be a mixed bag of a piece of real estate or two, maybe some gold coins and silver coins, maybe a collectible work of art. And as the old saying goes, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And of course, you'll help them make the decision. If they do go the direction of gold and silver coins, help them get the ones that have the real value as opposed to numismatic value. Explain the difference between bullion value and numismatic value, Steve, if you would.
So the difference is, when you buy a bullion coin or a bullion bar, that's just worth its weight content. When you buy and sell it, it's kind of like a stock. A lot of people like to buy them for short term. Some people buy them for long term. The only downside to bullion, on that side of the spectrum is a 1099 on the back side when you liquidate. Where the numismatic coins, there's really two different versions. You can get circulated coins like believe it or not, the peace dollars and Morgan dollars that people buy. Those are considered a numismatic coin, even though they're circulated and they're old and you can touch them with your hands, and they're probably the same price as a silver eagle. The difference is when you liquidate those on the back end, companies aren't supposed to be taking your information for reporting. So if you're looking for some type of a private investment, you want to go with more of the Morgans or the peace dollars. If you wanted to get into super rare coins like MS-65, $20 gold liberties, that's a graded coin that's going to cost you $4,000 or $5,000. That's not something typically I like people to look into. You're not trying to be a coin collector. There's a big difference between coin collecting and privatizing your wealth and getting insurance. So, there's also people that sell MF70 gold eagles. You'll see people saying that, that's a numismatic coin, that it's rare. Don't ever buy that. That's one of the biggest scams in the industry. Companies will take a brand new gold eagle and send it in and have it graded and say it's uncirculated. Well, of course it's uncirculated. We don't use gold as currency anymore. So, don't buy into it. It's a horrible scam that you'll see it, especially on the TV shows, the guys that are screaming into the TV set saying, ladies and gentlemen, it's a mint state 70. If it's a mint state 70, you don't want it. I mean, that's a scam.
Right. Well, it's good to know what the real deal is. And ladies and gentlemen, the real deal is Steve Hunt in Swiss America. Yeah, if you want to get unbiased opinion, unbiased information, I should say, from a man who knows this stuff. And Steve, this is not just a 9-to-5 job. This is your passion. This is something that you believe in with your entire heart and soul, isn't it?
Oh, of course it is. I mean, I've been doing this for so long now that it's, I enjoy it. I've gone and done so many speaking engagements, and I've helped so many different people. It's, it really truly is something that I enjoy doing. I love the history of coins. I love what it does for you. I love how people can privatize things. It's great.
Hold that thought, Steve. We got a break. We'll break.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge $20, $30, $40, $50, if possible, $100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here on Thursday. It is Thursday here, Republic Broadcasting, Thursday the 19th of December. Visiting with Steve Hunt. He's with Swiss America. If you want to get a copy of this excellent 14-page report, China's War, stamped top secret, a Swiss America Special Report, 14 pages. Well, give Steve a call, and he'll be glad to drop one in the mail to you. Steve's telephone number is 800-630-1491. A great summary, 14 pages, very compact, takes just a few minutes to read, and we'll give you a heads up on some very important matters that will affect us, our children, and our grandchildren. Right, Steve?
That's just it. You know, it's some really good information. I think that is, if you take advantage to get the information down and read it, it's really going to help set things up for you for your future and for your kids' future. Exactly what you just said.
Absolutely. Well, China, we hear a lot about racism these days. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't know what racism is until you've been around ethnic Chinese in China. They know, and there's no sense trying to convince them otherwise. They know that they're the most handsome men, the most beautiful women, the most intelligent people, the most productive people, and this century is their century. They know that. And they're putting all the pieces in place on the grand chessboard of the planet to accomplish their goal. And I'll be dealing with it. Everybody listening to me will be dealing with it. Our children will be dealing with it. Our grandchildren will be dealing with it. This is not going to go away, is it, Steve?
No, it's. I mean, look how upset they got because we signed a Hong Kong Freedom Act to help, people get out of the mess that's going on over there. I mean, they got so upset because of that. They get upset because sports stars make a comment about, how bad it is over there, and they wish they could be free. They're getting land. I read stories about land in Ohio, and I wish I could find, some documents to back this up, but I've been hearing this for a couple of years now, that there's a bunch of land in Ohio that China actually has some rights to because of loans and different things. I mean, there's so much going on behind the scenes that they're trying to take advantage. And
they're buying entire apartment buildings in Manhattan, and they're empty. If it's an investment, you would have them rented out. The most expensive real estate on the planet, and they're buying these expensive buildings, entire buildings, and they're empty. We had a caller on hold here. We had Kyle in Montana. Good morning, Kyle.
Good morning, gentlemen. Merry Christmas, Steve, and Happy New Year to you. Steve, I've come to the conclusion that we have become so dumbed down in this country that we are not going to survive. And I think, if a person like the elite, okay, I'll back up. The elite say that people are too stupid to govern themselves, that they need to have a dictatorship. And I am almost getting to the point to where I believe them. Because once you get from a republic to a democracy, and the people in the democracy are so stupid that they cannot see reality anymore, then they start allowing things like China to buy their country up, to think in terms of being manipulated, by and provided for and ruled over, and then there goes your democracy right back to a dictatorship. And I just can't see any other way around it. And I think we've got to the point in this country where people are so stupid that they're literally going to allow the Chinese or somebody to come in, and they would rather be red than dead.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think there might be some truth to that. You look at this whole impeachment thing. I try not to go too negative into this because it does bother me quite a bit. But you watch what they've done to this president who has done nothing but try to create jobs. Who's trying to make America great again. He's doing everything he can to help everybody, not just certain people, not just if you're a red state, he's been trying to help everybody. And the Democrats can't see past that for 10 seconds because they lost. Their person Hillary lost the election, and they're so upset by it. There are people that I know close to me that don't talk to family members because they voted for Trump and they voted for Hillary, and they don't talk anymore. And it's the goofiest thing I've ever seen. How politics has just split this country in families because of something so silly.
Steve, I think it should have been the end of the argument when he released the actual transcript of the conversation. I mean, that 100%. Should have been the end of it, Yep,
I agree.
Could have,
yeah,
should have.
Unbelievable. But on one quick question.
Quick.
Before, I see people a lot on like Robert Kiyosaki and a bunch of these other ones, and I respect him. He's a smart guy. And they're always talking about buying silver constantly, all the time. It's going to $100 an ounce. This kind of a panic buying. Do you feel that's just like kind of stupid money? People wanting to invest it there.
No, I mean silver has technically a higher upside than gold does if you look at the historical charts.
Okay, we're out of time, gentlemen. Steve, thank you. Have you back next week.
Look forward to it. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Okay, thank you, sir. 5-hour break. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday. It is Thursday, the 19th of December here at Republic Broadcasting. My website is thelibertyman.com. That's thelibertyman.com. I was happy that we got President Trump's letter posted, but then disappointed this morning when I found out that it wasn't coming up like it should. Looks like it's coming up now. Probably an issue with my computer and not my website. It looks like I got page 3, page 4 is it there. But we'll make sure that's squared away. It's probably just an issue with my computer. But my website is thelibertyman.com. And you'll find lots of interesting things there. Now, let's look at under products, for example. Under products. I'll get back to my home page here. Sometimes it doesn't work instantly like it should. Of course not. So there's a drop-down menu. And I'm just going to go through those real quick. AMSOIL. I've been using AMSOIL now for many years. All my vehicles get AMSOIL. Oil, lubricants, gasoline additives, and filters. Amazon products, that's where you'll find the ballistic helmets and gas masks and body armor. Berkey water filters, doTERRA oils, of course the energy cleaner. We have free downloads there, and then Health Masters, and that's Ted Broer's line of health-related products, supplements. Simply Clean Foods, a great line of long-term storage foods. And then last but not least, John's Products, which includes my DVDs. Everything's right there. So everything's right there. Let's talk about preparedness a little bit. I've been at this a long time. First began in the fall of 1967, preparing for the Tet Offensive, which, since I was in the intelligence section of the 10th Psychological Operations Battalion in Kanto, the capital city of the Mekong Delta, since I attended the classified briefing every morning at the 4th Corps Tactical Operations Center, since I picked up documents every morning from the CIA, Army Intelligence, Army Security Agency, and actually read those things since I was interested in them, I knew it was coming. And I was stocking up food and stocking up ammunition in preparation for the Tet Offensive near the end of January 1968. So that's over half a century ago. I didn't do much after leaving Vietnam and after leaving the Army until my daughter was born, I believe in 1973. And as soon as I saw this innocent life, and I instantly knew that I was going to be responsible for her welfare and safety. And I began preparations all over again, which continue to this day. So the foundation of preparation is basically understanding the need for it, first of all. If there's not a perceived need, then what's the point? There is no point. I know people who will say, oh, I'll just die, and make these flippant statements. The purpose of the flippant statement is twofold. One, to cut off the conversation from moving any further, and the other is to complete the circle of denial that these people live in. These people being those who will not look at the reality of the need for preparation. And I'm okay with that. I mean, if I don't have an emotional attachment to educating people, informing people, letting them know what could happen. I respect their choice not to do anything. That's their choice. Just don't come knocking on my door when the time comes. You will not get a warm reception. There are people who say, well, I'll just go and stay at Billy Bob's house. He's got lots of food, and Billy Bob will take me in. That's not a plan. There's people who actually plan on stealing other people's food and medical supplies and so forth, engaging in criminal activity because they've chosen not to prepare in advance. That will not have a good ending. That will not have a good ending. And, of course, those of us who prepare in advance, which many, if not most, of the listeners to John Moore Radio Show have made some level of preparedness. And it's both ends of the spectrum. Men and women who have acquired their safe haven, a hobby farm, for example, and live there full time, and men and women who are scraping by and maybe buying an extra bag of beans, an extra bag of rice, and rinsing out 2-liter soda bottles and filling up with clean drinking water. That's both ends of the spectrum. Even a homeless person can do that. Finding a place to store it might be an issue, but even a homeless person can store rice and beans and water. So we deal with both ends of the spectrum and all belief systems. So once you come to a conclusion that preparation is a good thing to do, what's next? Well, it's a myriad of things. First of all, spiritual preparation. That is probably, in my opinion, the most important thing that you can engage in is your spiritual preparedness. It's not my job as a radio talk show host to advise you what your spiritual belief should be, far from it. But I do feel a responsibility to let you know that that part of your life needs to be taken care of. And hopefully become a daily part of your life, that spiritual preparedness. What next? Concurrently, actually, the skills. I might say, no, get a 2-year supply of freeze-dried food. Well, most people can't afford that. Obviously, you need some food. But skills, the acquisition of skills is something everybody can do. The cost is nominal. So what skills do you need? First aid? Yes, first aid, of course you do. Advanced first aid is better. Wilderness first aid is even better than that. Above that, you might want to get some paramedic training. Almost nobody's going to do that, but that would be excellent. And you need a kit of medical equipment and medical supplies comparable to your skill set. CPR. If you're a CPR, it's been more than a year or two since you've had CPR, it's changed. They change the protocols frequently. It would be good to get an updated CPR class. Ham radio. We'll be talking about ham radio tomorrow with Tom Berryhill. People think these radios just pick them up and talk on them like a cell phone. If you think that, you're wrong. The odds of you picking up a radio without any training and getting your ham radio license and being successful in communication are very limited. Very limited. Which means you may not be able to talk to anybody at all. Even once people get their ham radio license, majority of them make a huge mistake. The first thing they buy is a handy-talkie, a handheld radio, what many people call a walkie-talkie. Big mistake. The first radio you should buy would be a mobile unit. A mobile unit can be used in your vehicle and used at home with a power converter. These mobile units run on 12 volts, and it's easy to get a transformer that will run your radio in your home for 12 volts as well. That's what you want, the first radio you want. And of course, you're probably going to get several handy talkies. The thing about handy talkies is you're buying into a system of radios. You want to, if you have a team of 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 people, you want to get one handy talkie model that's consistent with, and everybody gets the same one. Why would you do that? So you have compatibility of antennas, microphones, batteries, battery chargers. That's a big deal. There was a scene in the TV series Jericho. If you haven't seen Jericho, the TV series, I really strongly encourage you to watch the TV series Jericho. If you haven't seen it, you need to. I was shocked this series was even on broadcast TV. I forget which network, one of the major networks. It ran 2 seasons, I think maybe part of a third, but it was on 2 seasons. The scenario is a gentleman decides he wants to conquer the United States, and he sets off, I believe, 12 or more nuclear devices in 12 or more American cities, taking down the power grid and throwing the entire country into chaos. And Jericho is a mythical city. There's no such city in Kansas named Jericho. It's a mythical city in Kansas. And the city and the series focuses on this little community of several thousand people and how they survive the consequences of nationwide EMP and nuclear attack. Very well done. A lot to learn there. And in fact, I might watch it again this winter. I've got it on DVD. So skills. What have we covered so far? First aid, number 1. CPR, number 2. Ham radio, number 3. Of course, you need radios comparable to your skill level there. After that, what are you looking at? Well, there's a myriad of things. Chances are you have some skill sets in other areas. Might be childcare, maybe cooking, maybe camping, carpentry, mechanical work, welding, all kinds of different skills. Defense of life and property will probably, unfortunately, be part of all this. That's going to mean proficiency in the use of firearms. Every Monday, we have Firearms Monday here with Sam Andrews. We talk about firearms and firearms training and all related matters. I suggest getting high quality professional instruction from an NRA certified instructor, maybe the Appleseed Project, or going to some classes offered at Freedom Center USA down in Lebanon, Missouri. We give those details every Monday. Let's start out with good quality instruction. You may have a well-meaning relative, father, son, grandfather, brother, who wants to get you started, and it's possible they may do it right. It's just as possible that they won't give you proper instruction, even though they mean well. I've had any number of female pistol students who got a really bad experience because a well-meaning male relative, father, spouse, brother, and a petite woman, a woman who's maybe 5'2" and weighs 110 pounds, and that young woman a heavy caliber pistol. She's never shot a pistol in her life, and it's just way too much. Way too much. We got a caller on hold here. We got John in Tennessee. Good morning, John.
Good morning, John. You're talking about Jericho. I had to call and comment because I've been saying for probably 15 years that the deep state, whatever name you want to put on it, I believe, John, they're obliged to tell you what they're going to do. It's whether or not you're listening to what they're saying. So I look at Jericho.
You're not the only person saying that. That's widely known in the Patriot community. But go ahead, John.
Well, and the thing is, I remember Jericho. And there was another one that was interesting called Falling Skies. I think they were both on NBC. So the Falling Skies was basically about these aliens coming down and getting into people's bodies and all this nonsense. So, it's called programming. It's television programming. And the majority of people, John, that are sleeping, they're walking zombies.
Predictive programming. Let's get the whole phrase.
Right.
Predictive programming. Go ahead.
Well, I know, but on television, it's a television program. To someone that's awake, it is predictive programming. They're speaking in a coded language that we've learned to understand in many ways. Unfortunately, the average person turns it on and they look at it and they go into their trance and they enjoy it. So for those that are listening that may not know, it is absolutely predictive programming. So it's not just TV. You turn on the radio, there's a host that you like because you like the over-the-air network radio, network television, Fox Fair and Balanced, CNN for liberal. It's opposite ends of the dialectic. Make no mistake about it. And it's our responsibility, John. You're in the military and in intelligence. It's our responsibility to be able to take information, put it in this brain that God gave us that is the greatest computer on earth, and make sense of it. Don't take John's word. Don't take John Moore's word. Look at it. Try to prove it wrong. Do what you can and draw your own conclusions, because ultimately we're going to be responsible for our own selves.
John, I
appreciate you letting me get that in.
Don't go away, John. I got a question for you.
Okay.
I expressed my shock and surprise that a American television network would even broadcast a series like Jericho. How about you, sir?
I'm sorry, you broke up. What were you asking about Jericho? No,
earlier,
I wasn't surprised.
Yes, sir. I expressed my surprise and shock that a network would broadcast a TV series like Jericho. How about you?
I was not surprised at all, to be truthful, because at that point, like I said, they're obligated to tell you the truth. It's whether or not you're hearing it. So I wasn't surprised. Everything that we turn on now, when 24 came out, and Jack Bauer and all the rest of that, isn't it amazing, John, that everything that's been on 24 is now happening in real life? Go back to the X-Files.
Right.
Go back to the X-Files. It was actually an episode with a guy with my name, my full name, who did what I did in the Air Force. My MOS, yes, on the X-Files. Okay, I'm laying in bed going, what? My name, John, doing a job that I had in the military. And they're the one he's looking.
It had to be.
I'm telling you.
That had to really be. I don't know how. That would be so unusual.
I didn't tell my wife. Let me tell you.
Amazing.
So where are they getting the storylines, John? There's always a disclaimer at the end. It's depicted in pretty fictional. Any resemblance to characters in real life is coincidental. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Thank you.
That's great. That's a great story, John. You have that one episode on DVD, I hope. John's gone. Okay. Thank you, John, for the call. We appreciate it. We got a break coming up here, our last break, and the call number is 800-313-9443. One of the best examples of this predictive programming is the film The Day After Tomorrow, starring Dennis Quaid. We're living what's going on in that movie in slow motion, which is entering a new ice age. You need to see the film if you haven't. Really do. Here's our last break. We'll be right back.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday, the 19th of December. As much as anything else, preparedness is an attitude. It really is. I encourage what I refer to as prudent preparedness. Prudent. What does that mean? That means, well, don't break the piggy bank. Destroy the family's financial wherewithal. That's not smart. Taking on credit card debt for preparedness is not smart. In fact, paying down credit card debt with these interest rates are just off the charts crazy. Interest rates of 20 and 22% are really not all that unusual anymore. And sometimes it's said the 11th wonder of the world is compound interest. So part of preparedness should be adding to the family's financial independence. It really should be. And not acquiring credit card debt and paying it off, it needs to be a priority. It really does. A safe haven, it can and should be part of any well thought out plan. The best place, of course, would be a hobby farm some distance from a major city, where either food is already capable of being grown to feed the team that's there, or within a reasonably short period of time, the food output could be increased to take care of the people there. Hobby farms just don't happen overnight. In fact, there's one for sale at my website. One of my neighbors, he's a commercial and general contractor. Great place, right down the street from me in my zip code. It's the only hobby farm in my zip code for sale. All these things work together. Do a little something every day for preparedness, no matter how small it is. Maybe get a couple, purchasing a couple of extra pairs of boot laces, for example, or maybe 6 new pairs of merino wool socks. Maybe a new canteen or a new camouflage poncho, whatever it is. They wouldn't necessarily have to be buying something every day. That would be not very easy to do or smart. But just maybe going through your tools and making sure your tools are all clean and lubricated if they need lubrication, and sharp if they need to be sharpened. I get my merino wool socks from 2 different places. One would be the Sportsman's Guide, great place, great prices, and of course Amazon.com. REI has a good selection as well. Pretty upscale. You're going to be paying full retail unless you catch them on sale at REI. So lots of places to get merino. There's not only merino wool socks, but also underwear, the tops and bottoms. It may sound counterintuitive to wear wool socks in the summertime, but I do and have for more than a decade. And with cotton socks, my feet would stay cold and clammy all summer long. The sweat just stayed on your feet. With merino wool socks, 110 degrees, my feet are quite comfortable and not hot, believe it or not. That's the way it should be. If you've got comfortable feet, that helps the rest of you be comfortable as well. It's a really good way to go. Tomorrow morning, we'll have Tom Berryhill with us. We'll be talking about emergency survival communications and Dr. Lynn Wilbert, second hour. In the meantime, get medical supplies and energy cleaning.